Mark Levin and Dinesh D'Souza go scorched earth on Tucker Carlson. So I want to share this with you. This is part of an interview. Now, this is available here on YouTube, so I'm sure I'm not violating any copyright laws here. But Mark Levin interviewed Dinesh D'Souza on his radio show. And they're both calling out Tucker Carlson, saying that he's trying to take over the MAGA movement, that he's assembling this army of anti-Semites, neo-Confederates, that want to browbeat everybody else. These people are so full of crap. They're so full of crap. So welcome back to the channel, Culture Confederacy here. It's Thursday night. Happy Thursday, everybody. Now, you know me. I don't pull any punches here. So what you see is what you get. So if you're new to the channel, no fancy graphics, no epic soundtracks. You're not going to see me come on camera and go, look at me, look at how gorgeous I am, look at all this money I've got. Speaking of which, Mark Levin, in this interview here, tries to say that Tucker's making all this money off of these interviews, having this platform. Mark Levin is worth $50 million. He should talk. So at any rate, let's get to this. I've got about 4 clips to share with you here. And the title of the video here on YouTube, Tucker Carlson Exposed. Now, you got to see this. You got to see this. This is a real scrape. So they've got a graphic here. Got a picture of Dinesh D'Souza smiling. And next to him is Mark Levin, who's looking very serious because he's going to save America from all the anti-Semites, the neo-Confederates. Again, they're so full of crap. So let's get to this. This is at the 1 minute and 8 second mark. And this is Dinesh D'Souza. Just listen to this. Now, pardon the audio. We do things raw here. What you see is what you get. And thank you again, if I didn't say it, for watching and subscribing and being a part of this thing called the Culture Confederacy. So let's get to this. Again, this is an interview with Dinesh D'Souza. Well, Mark Levin interviewing Dinesh D'Souza on his radio show. Video called Tucker Carlson Exposed. Here we go.
Danger of Tucker is that he is driving a wedge between Jews and Christians, between America and Israel, between, in a sense, the 2 foundational pillars of Western civilization, which are Athens and Jerusalem.
Whoa, wait a minute. Athens and Jerusalem. Isn't Jerusalem in the Middle East? Be more maybe Athens and Rome. Maybe Constantinople. Maybe so. I don't know. But Jerusalem? Pillars of Western civilization? Now, if you want to make the argument, it's a pillar of civilization, but Western civilization? Okay, I digress here. Let's continue.
And so this is bad for Trump. It's bad for MAGA. It gives a terrible brand to the Republican Party because it seems to open the door to all kinds of bigotries that are now pouring into the Republican.
All types of bigotry now pouring into the MAGA movement because of people like Tucker Carlson.
Side, not just anti-Semitism, but hatred toward blacks, hatred toward Indians like Harmeet Dillon and Vivek Ramaswamy.
Hatred toward Indians? Where's that happening? I don't see any reports of, these attacks on Indians, people coming over from India, Indian Americans. I love the Indian American community. They're hardworking people. They're good people. They believe in family, traditional values.
Ramaswamy, it is actually giving us a terrible image.
It's giving us a terrible image. Oh, you mean you're actually being stood up here? Is that the right way to say this? We do these in one take, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So this is all Tucker's fault. You think maybe, Dinesh, that possibly you've had problems with this thing called the Republican Party and this thing called, quote-unquote, conservatism, or at least modern conservatism? Maybe it has nothing to do with Tucker. You guys are going to freak out over an interview he did with Nick Fuentes? And here's the reason why he interviewed Nick Fuentes. He interviewed Nick Fuentes because Nick Fuentes happens to be a hot topic right now. That's what interviewers do. So let's move on to the next clip here. It's going to be a segment, but next clip. Now this runs on, I think, for about roughly 12 minutes here, 11 minutes, 50 seconds. So let me find the mark here. So this is the 2-minute and 18-second mark. Listen to this.
Isn't part of the problem a guy like him, and
Tucker Carlson now.
him and people like him, they don't have to really deal with the consequences of what they're doing, and they're not really feeling the consequences of what they're doing or care about them.
They don't care about the consequences. Tucker Carlson doesn't care that his show goes to pot. Really? I think he does. And I think Tucker knows what he's doing.
Because they have this niche, even if it's a few million people, it's still a tiny percentage, a fraction of the population generally. And if they're paying $99 a month or whatever it is, they still become incredibly wealthy. And they have to continue to become increasingly outrageous to draw attention. Thinking about this.
They become increasingly wealthy. Mark Levin, you're worth what, $50 million? And you're going to talk about Tucker making money off of his podcast? Really? So let's move on to the next one just to, for the sake of time, just to make sure I'm not rambling on here. And moving things right along, this is at the 3-minute and 57-second mark. Let me find that real quick. Again, I'm doing this in one take. It is what it is. I know I'm old school. I'm old school, but what can you do? Okay, here we go. Now, in this particular clip, we hear D'Souza talk about how Tucker is browbeating the public. He's browbeating the public, and he's browbeating those of you who belong in MAGA, the conservative movement.
So I think for Tucker, it is ultimately about steering the entire MAGA movement and the Republican Party post-Trump. They can't do very much with Trump. Trump is sort of not on their side, and they've recognized that. But they're looking at a post-Trump future, and I think Tucker is using this.
Well, aren't you doing the same thing? I'm pretty sure you people in the Republican Party are looking at a post-Trump future. You don't want the Democrats in power, Dinesh D'Souza.
Kind of army of angry young men. Who are
An army of angry young men now. There's a lot of angry young men out there.
in their basement. They hate their life. These are
And you hate your life.
Social media 8 or 9 hours a day, and he's using them as a kind of online
8 or 9 hours a day. You mean we got a lot of people out there who aren't working? Wonder why that is.
militia to browbeat
A militia now.
people into submission. This is why
To brow people into submission?
for a long time no one dared to criticize Tucker. So in some ways I think Tucker's plan is firing because a wall of criticism has now mounted against him. I don't think he fully expected that. But I think his goal is nothing less than to ultimately be at the steering wheel of the MAGA movement post-Trump.
Really now? Where's your evidence of this, Dinesh D'Souza? Last time I checked, Tucker's just a commentator out there doing his own thing. You know what I think? I said it before. I think these people are jealous. They were salivating to get this interview with Nick Fuentes. Getting tongue-tied here. You know they were. You know they were. Ben Shapiro, Dinesh D'Souza, Mark Levin. They would give their right arm to interview Nick Fuentes to take him out. That's exactly what they want. But Tucker got him first. Can we say jealousy? So one last clip to share with you again for the sake of time. This is the 6-minute and 24-second mark. Let me find that here. And they're saying here that Tucker is just crazy. He's just plain crazy. But it's not crazy for you to have this thing called the Republican Jewish Coalition this past weekend, or conference, where you were calling Tucker a Hitlerite. And you said you were going to stop anybody from having these podcasts, and they're not going to take over America because we will, because we're in charge. We should give all this money to Israel. That's not crazy. When we have our own problems here at home, I don't know, like veterans who need our help, people who need our help, people who are looking for work. So here's this clip for you again at the 6-minute and 24-second mark. Tucker is crazy. He's just crazy. Here we go, folks.
I mean, here's a guy just recently who has
talking about Tucker.
Following, ideas. Number one, in World War II, we perhaps should have allied with Hitler. Hamas is not a terrorist organization as much as it is a normal political movement, maybe somewhat like the Levin Party. He's gone on to say Sharia law is not all that bad. The socialist narco-terrorist leader of Venezuela, he said, is basically somebody who is, quote, socialist conservative.
Okay.
So you just put all of this together, and there's a lot more where this came from, and you ask, is this really MAGA? Is this where MAGA wants to be? This is not about canceling Tucker. This is about defining who we are.
You see, you don't like Tucker's point of view. He lets the cat out of the bag. Now, maybe Tucker has raised these issues before, maybe in World War II, looking back on it, possibly as a strategic effort. It may have been a good idea temporarily to align with Germany to get the intelligence that we probably needed during World War II. I'm pretty sure we didn't have people in Washington saying, yeah, we gotta set up all these concentration camps. We're in bed with Hitler now. No, that's not what happens. And I'm pretty sure that's not what happened. So maybe that might have been a good idea. Okay, you're saying the leader in Venezuela is a socialist who's conservative? Yeah, you can be a conservative socialist, Dinesh D'Souza. Why is he surprised by this? As smart as Dinesh D'Souza is, or claims to be, he really sounds very ignorant here, doesn't he? As does Mark Levin. See, they've got the keys to the car. They're cooking in the kitchen, not you, baby. So I thought I'd share this with you, but this is absolutely, and I commented in this or in the comments here. I said, being somebody of German heritage, I'm very offended by this. Very offended by this. You're going to throw out terms like Hitler. Do you even know, Dinesh D'Souza, what Hitler did to his own German people? Not just the Jews, which was absolutely horrific. And I pointed out, it's different to be anti-Semitic or there's a difference between being anti-Semitic, trying to get the words out, pardon me, and not wanting your country to send money to other countries. I don't care if that country, and I said it before, I don't care if it's Israel or Egypt or Germany or whatever the country is in Europe. We should be focused on the homeland. But I guess they all buy into this whole, we got to spread democracy across the globe, right? So I thought I'd share this with you. Tell me what you think in the comments section below. Thank you for being with me and bearing with some of the audio here. Again, these are all clips available on YouTube. Title of the video, Tucker Carlson Exposed. But I think the more you listen to this, you realize that they're exposing themselves. Dinesh D'Souza and Mark Levin exposing themselves. The pot calling the kettle black. So don't forget to follow me at Instagram, #JasonComposes, because I write music in my spare time. Go to X, Culture Confederacy, at Culture Confed X. Let me say it again. Getting long-winded here. You can find me at Substack or #JasonComposes on Instagram, because I write music in my spare time. Thus, this mission to preserve great art, music, history, and culture. And you can go to Culture Confederacy at Culture Confed 1 on X. So thank you for being with me. Hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, I'll catch you next time. And y'all have a great Thursday night. Take care.